If you've been standing on the sidelines and you've been wanting to get AI agents implemented into your business, but you don't know if you're ready, by the end of this video, you'll know 3 signs that I'm going to be talking about whether or not it is time for you to get AI agents implemented into your business. It is 2026, and the businesses that are actually implementing AI agents into their business are the ones who are getting ahead of 99% of competition. And if you are not doing anything about it, well, unfortunately, you're going to be left out, because those who make the decision to commit and adjust to all this technology coming out every single week at this point are the ones who are going to get ahead. Number 1, repetitive tasks eating your capacity. Do you find yourself following the same exact protocols when, say, you're onboarding a new customer? Say you have a meeting with them, maybe a sales call, you have to follow up with an invoice, maybe you have to provide them certain material, then you have to welcome them into the group, then you have to specifically tell someone to do something. Well, if you're doing this for every single client at scale, especially if you're getting a bunch of people doing all this, or say maybe you are not doing it and someone on your team is doing it. Well, if you're doing that, you are spending a lot of time on low ROI activities that can actually be allocated elsewhere. If you're doing all this manually at scale, this takes a lot of time, especially per client. This can easily take up a third of your day, maybe 2/3 of a day. Maybe you have someone specifically just doing this all day. If it takes person A to do this in about 2 to 4 hours per day, versus say, if you were to automate this with an AI that can do this in, say, a matter of minutes per client, have everything ready, who do you think is going to have the client or customer activated faster? If you get the client to activation faster in your onboarding, obviously the person who has the activation point met in a quicker amount of time, they are more likely to have the aha moment faster. They are more likely to spend more with you over time. They're more likely to see the value proposition of your business and everything you offer in your ecosystem. Or maybe you're too stuck in admin or even managing people. Do you necessarily need to break down everything happening in your business every single day? Do you have to manually craft the reports and data that is happening across your ecosystem every single day to your team? If you have the data that you're sourcing from somewhere and all you're really doing is transcribing and translating it to the people on your team that have to know how to make a decision or move things forward, that is probably taking up a good chunk of your time per day too. So rather than you doing this all manually, which can eat into your time, have you considered whether or not it makes sense to have an agent to do this all for you? Because if you simply do that and remove all admin tasks, simple management, updates, check-ins, or anything else that you don't want to focus on, but you want to allocate that focus elsewhere, these are all simple tasks that can be completely removed where you're focusing your attention on, to then only focus on the high ROI activities. Because if you only focus on the high ROI activities, these are the things that are going to be producing revenue. Whereas if you're just stuck in admin or these boring activities that can easily be systemized, are very process outlined and driven, or can be handed off to someone else, you're very likely to be able to remove this off your plate. So the rule of thumb here is if there's a clear system, there's a clear outline or a definition of done from point A to point B to mark a job as done, this can be simply automated with an agent. Because the biggest difference with a software and an agent is that agents solve jobs. They get jobs done. That's the difference versus just, say, a simple automation in N8N or, say, Zapier. Because the agent here, it has an autonomous, intelligent brain. If it follows a set of processes from step A to point B based off certain triggers or events, then you can always expect a consistent output. Number 2, operational costs, scaling with headcount. If you're managing teams of 50 plus people, even 25 or even 10, that's already a lot of people. But the question is, do you actually need all these people? Or is there any better way how you can allocate their time? Because if they're all doing, say, tier 1 or tier 2 activities, which are something similar to like admin or just basic onboarding, maybe even follow-ups, reaching out to clients, prospecting them, nurturing them on, say, your ads manager or your business Facebook account, are these things that really deserve their attention? Or can you completely eliminate it so you remove the overhead? Because if you simply remove the overhead of like these low-level activities that can easily be automated or handled by an agent, how much time can that free up for your team? And most importantly, if they can free up their time to spend on actual activities that matter, then what do you think they can do for your business to help grow it? Alternatively, if you already do have the headcount filled with the most important activities that your business has to focus on, then do you really need this segment of your business filled with human labor? If not, you can easily replace that with an AI agent. Say, for instance, you are paying someone to handle customer service follow-ups or just simply answering the phone for your service-based business. If you're spending somewhere between 4, 6, 7, 8 grand per month for a customer service rep just to simply answer calls and put them into your calendar booking, You can have an agent to do the same exact thing for roughly $50 to $200 per month if, say, you were to use a voice agent. Now, it really depends on the volume in terms of how many people are coming to you. But at the end of the day, the cost of AIs to transcribe text to speech is getting cheaper as time moves forward. Plus, the responses are more consistent and systemized exactly to what's maybe previously has been working in your business, or simply what you can find online to give you the highest conversion rates. Because people are unpredictable, especially when it comes to involving emotion, empathy with other people, especially on the sales processes. So sometimes your salespeople can fumble the bag when it comes to actually closing the deal. Whereas, say, an intelligent system, you pre-train it on a sales script. You pre-train it on, say, the best research that works in favor of your business to close them on deals with consumer psychology. You can have a pretty high close rate for 1/10 of the price of what you're paying for your current customer reps. So as you're scaling your operations, and really the bottlenecks to grow even higher becomes profitability, or how much revenue you have on hand, or how much cash you have on hand to scale and grow. The question to ask yourself is, do you really need all these people on your team? Or is there any area or department that you can simply automate or completely fulfill with one sub-agent that can be 1/10 of the price? Massive difference. What can you potentially unlock with all that profit in cash? And the third area is the tribal bottleneck. Now, when people are in your business, or you have a department, you have people, you have teammates, whatever, there's a very specific piece of value that grows with your team the longer they are on your team. Because think about it, if you are hiring servers, for instance, then the longer they work with your restaurant, the better they know your menu, the better they know what sells, what doesn't sell. Or maybe say you have a sales team selling a certain product, whatever the product is, the more your rep knows about your specific offer or product, the better they can close and work a deal out with a sales script. So the knowledge grows with them and they become more embedded into your business. But the problem here is that all businesses have some sort of attrition rate, whether yours is very high or very low. And if you don't know what attrition means, it just means how long an employee stays on your team before they churn and go work for someone else, or someone potentially even buys them out. What is the cost of losing someone that you've built out for a couple years to work within your business, and then suddenly they find a better offer, or they find a better job somewhere else, or they just cannot no longer work? What do you do at that point, and how much would that cost you to lose them? Probably a lot, because you've trained them, maybe you've mentored them, maybe they've learned your product so deeply where it's just ingrained into how they work within your business. And then suddenly an event happens, or suddenly they decide to leave. Then what? Well, depending on how much you're paying this person, that can be a lot. And this is why hiring can be very costly. First off, you have to worry about finding the right person and if they can fulfill a role. Secondly, it's once you do hire someone and they do work with you for quite a bit of time, they really become an asset for your business. And the longer they work with you, the more knowledgeable they are on your team, your business, and all the services you offer around your ecosystem. But then when they leave, well, that's quite painful. And the way a sub-agent can completely remove this is you can train and systemize a sub-agent on very specific protocols, on very specific scripts, on very specific use cases, on how to use specific software. So the output is always very consistent. You set it up one time and you forget it. And the only thing you're paying for is just to have the AI running 24/7. There are no days off. There are no one day, I'll quit. You just set it and you forget it and it's just running. You refine and tweak it over time just to maintain it. And you completely eliminate the problem of finding the next best hire, of worrying about whether or not they're going to quit. And the best part about AI is the current way they are built to process large amounts of data. Whereas a human, they cannot process this amount of data, especially in split seconds when it comes to making a decision for a key decision, maybe say in a sales process or a live interaction with a customer. These language models and AIs can make split-second decisions that drive the business forward, helping you grow, cut costs, cut the amount of time that it takes to do something, and it's always working for you 24/7, pennies on the dollar, depending on how much volume you're getting. So if the asset value of a team member who joins your business grows over time, and then the cost of what happens once they leave is a big problem to your business, well, a sub-agent can completely solve that. And the reason why businesses hit ceilings when they scale their revenue is not because of lack of it, but more so because of a lack of proper operations set in place to solve their problems. In the age of technology, if you're not automating and using intelligent systems to grow and scale with your business, then you're already falling behind. You're one, already overpaying for talent. Two, you can significantly reduce costs to drive up profits. And three, with all this extra cash and profits on hand, you can scale and simply outpace your competition because whoever can pay the most to acquire a customer can scale the fastest, especially with the rising cost of marketing and cost in customer acquisition. The simplest way to start is to ask yourself, where do you believe you can unlock the most amount of value? Is it a personal thing you are doing in your business? Or is it maybe something with a team member or maybe even a department? Zoom into that. Where do you believe is the most amount of time being spent? Where do you believe there is the most amount of overhead being paid for that you believe can completely be systemized? Where do you believe if you were to increase the amount of throughput and time it takes to do something that you could unlock the most amount of value, which drives up revenue? Once you figure out where to zoom in on these three specific areas, which is buying back time, cutting overhead, or unlocking more revenue, you can figure out what 20% of tasks you can zoom in on to unlock 80% of the value. And if you don't know where to start, no worries, I got you. You can check out on my website. I have a free business AI audit tool where all you have to do is simply just input some information about your business and you get an instant report unlocked in roughly 60 seconds. If you've enjoyed this video, like, comment below what you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to see you to the next one. Bye.